I'm Diane. I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. I am a holistic health coach. I'm a yoga teacher, personal trainer, and functional nutritionist. What we talk about, what we do in my practice is we do functional lab testing. It's called functional medicine lab testing. We look at root cause reasons why you have sickness, symptoms, and suffering. What is the first thing that you do when you get a urinary tract infection, that you get a bladder infection? What is the first thing that you do? For most of us, we go to the doctor, right? We go to the doctor, and what they're going to give to you is they're going to give to you antibiotics, right? When I suffered from chronic UTIs when I was like 19, 20, 21, 22, it was right after I did 2 rounds of Accutane. It was also when I was on birth control. It was also when I was drinking a lot of alcohol. It was also when I was consuming a lot of bread and gluten and crappy processed foods. It was also when I was a professional athlete. So if anybody out there has ever had a urinary tract infection, you know the feeling. It sucks, it hurts, and you go to the doctor because you're in pain and you just want it to go away. And I totally get it. I got so bad to the point where I was on Macrobid. They said to take Macrobid when I had urinary tract infections, which is an antibiotic. And I said, well, how often do I take this? And they said, take it like every day. And I was like, well, what do you mean by that? Because I was having sex often at that point. I had a significant other in my life. And they said, take it every time after you have sex. And if you also want better measures, take it before. And I'm like, that's 2 antibiotic pills every day. So you're saying take this every day for the rest of my life if I'm having sex like every day? And they're like, yeah. Wait, we're only supposed to take antibiotics for 10 days at a time when we're sick, or 7 days at a time when we're sick. I can only imagine, my intuition said, I can only imagine what that's going to do to your immune system, which lives in the gut. Because if I take an antibiotic, you swallow that, goes to your gut, it destroys your healthy microbiome as well. We need to have a healthy microbiome in the gut to sustain our immune health, right? So I thought that doesn't sound right. And I was like 22 at the time. And I said to them, how do I resolve this at the root cause? Like, why am I getting these UTIs? And they said, we don't know. How long are you going to be okay with, as intelligent as Western medicine claims to be, with all these studies and research, when someone tells you, I don't know? It's a very disempowering statement. Do you want to know the answer to why you get UTIs? And this goes for any symptom. So I could talk about anything. You guys could ask me about anything, and I'll come on here and talk about the root cause of why you get it and how to get rid of it for good. So if you don't want to know, and if you're not curious about the answer of why, and if you just want to take a pill, this is not the video for you, and this is not the channel for you. But if you really want to know the reasons why you get things, and you're done on the doctor treadmill trying to figure it out with pills and then numbing out your symptoms with medications and antidepressants so that you don't feel the symptoms, or you don't feel sad about the symptoms anymore that you can't control because they tell you we don't know why, then listen on. I asked in my support group, in my Facebook group, what is your number one biggest symptom or sickness that you wish was gone? We've got free time to think about them, so I'm here to serve. And Mary asked the question, which says chronic UTIs and face and neck acne, blemishes, pimples, and rash. So one might think, okay, those are 2 separate things, right? Acne is different on the face and the neck because I am having issues in my genourinal issue, my cavity, my system, and I'm having urinary tract infections. They're 2 separate issues, right? I've got to treat them 2 different ways, right? Not necessarily. And again, what you're used to is your doctor is going to give you an antibiotic for both those things. Why would they give you that? And why would your acne clear up if they give you an antibiotic? Obviously, it's some kind of bacterial component, right? So I'm going to tell you what not to do, because I recently, and thanks for the hearts and the likes, you guys, maybe this is resonating, yay. I can't remember what percentage it is, but a lot of us are going to have urinary tract infections at some point in our life. They are something that you can control, and there are some things I'm going to give you as far as solutions that you can do on a regular basis so that you can have natural remedies at home. I can never say the word cure, but I'm just saying the word is inside of you because you have that intuition, but they don't want you to think that because they want you to buy medication. But the number one cause of death, if you're watching yesterday, in the next 30 years is going to be antibiotic resistance because of overuse of antibiotics. So I really warn you against this. I went in 2 years ago. This is right after Botox. So listen to this. I was really struggling when I had my breast implants in, and I was using toxic beauty products, and I also had Botox, the most Botox I've ever had put in my face. And I had a few urinary tract infections that would not quit. And I was like, how did these come back? I am not eating bread anymore. I'm not eating a lot of sugar anymore. I've cleaned up my, cosmetic routine. Like, what's going on here? I'm not even having sex, right? I was having UTIs and they were really bad. Went into the doctor because I was desperate. This is before I knew better. And I am a practitioner. So this is also very humbling for me to walk in and be like, I've been testing my labs. Everything looks normal. And I'm not talking about blood testing. If blood testing is the only thing that you're doing to assess how healthy you are, you have gone nowhere near the surface. It's like looking at the surface of the ocean and being like, oh yeah, the dolphins and the whales and the plankton and the coral, everything's fine underneath. But if you look underneath, our coral is dying. And our coral in the ocean is dying because of antibiotic use under the ocean and mercury and radiation. So we are poisoning the planet with plastic, and all of that is showing up underneath the ocean. Are you with me on this? Are you guys with me? The level of blood testing that's being done, and that's all that's happening, is like looking at the surface of the ocean going, yeah, everything looks fine. We have to go way underneath with functional medicine labs, which is what we do in our practice, and look to see what the root cause of why on the surface of the ocean it looks like it's a funky different color, or why we're seeing whales and dolphins and fish turning up dead on the sand. There's something going on underneath, and we got to find out what it is. So I was looking at my functional medicine labs, and I was like, I'm not seeing anything. I do know that doing specific urine testing will dictate if I have some sort of a bacteria that's causing a urinary tract infection and acne, because some of them are the similar kind of bacteria that cause both, right? So I go in, they test me, and I didn't get the results back. So here's what I'm going to impart upon you. They said, oh yeah, we've tested you. We'll go find the answers. Your results will be back in a couple of months. Or not, sorry, not months, days. And I was like, okay, well, what do I do in the meantime? And they said, we're going to give you an antibiotic. And I was like, okay. Palm to forehead moment. I go home, I start taking the antibiotic, and 2 days later, almost 3 days later at this point, I'm like, this is not doing anything. I am worse. My pain is not better. I still have a urinary tract infection. It is still painful. Nothing's numbing it out. I was doing even I don't even do it that much, but Tylenol if I need it. I was doing CBD, nothing. I was doing natural things, nothing. That's why I went to the doctor. So they said, take this antibiotic, and I took it, didn't work, made me worse. This is going to make you worse. If you take an antibiotic that is not effective against the type of bacterial strain that's causing the acne or causing the UTI, it is going to destroy your microbiome. It can actually take 1 whole year to repopulate the healthy bugs that 1 round of antibiotic will kill. It could also permanently destroy that flora and never come back. This is how toxic and scary antibiotics are if we use them, overuse them. So let me finish my story with this too. And this is the importance, and I want to help you guys with this. If you have a urinary tract infection, or if your children do, or your friends do, don't let friends take antibiotics without them culturing it properly, okay? So 3 days later, my culture comes back. It says that I have high levels of E. coli, which is the bacterial strain that causes urinary tract infections. And mine was really high. But then they cultured it, because this is what they should be doing before anybody prescribes you an antibiotic. Make sure they have cultured your specific strain to know what it is, and to also make sure that whatever strain that you have, it is effective against the type of antibiotics they're going to give you. What that means is that if they use an antibiotic against that specific bacterial strain, it's going to die. If it's resistant and they give you an antibiotic, that antibiotic is not only not effective for that bacterial strain that's causing your symptoms, it is actually going to cause more harm. It's going to kill your good bugs too. Does this make sense with you guys? So you don't want to kill the good girls and leave the bad girls untouched. And that's what happens if you don't get these things properly cultured and lab tested. So learn from me. I destroyed a lot of my biome, and then my health got worse after that point. Not only because I obviously had, Botox done, but now I had my antibiotics in my body. Now I had 2 rounds of antibiotics. I still had breast implants. I was trying to cleanse it out with my sauna, and I was a sick, hot mess. I ended up on 2 rounds of prednisone. That is one of the worst medications out there. It turns off your immune system. So you not only can't fight bad bugs, you now are subject to other chemicals and toxins that your body cannot mount to clear them out of the body. This is not a good thing. This is like taking, let's say you have a bodyguard, like the one that's at my house right now, he's a bodyguard. And let's say you put him to sleep. He's now at the front door and he's supposed to be protecting your front door from bad guys getting in. But if the bodyguard is asleep, then the bad guys can come in and rob your house, right? So taking an antibiotic that is not effective against a type of bacterial strain that's causing you acne or UTIs, that's what it's going to do. Are you with me? Does this make sense? This is powerful stuff. So this helps you to become your own best doctor and know how to ask your doctor for things. Or if you're like, Diane, I don't want to work with a doctor like that, just talk to me. We could work this out and I could tell you what to look for. Because my job is to teach you how to turn on your intuition, your intelligence, and your insight so that you know how to ask the right questions. Because if you knew that and you had a UTI or acne, you would know to say, hey, listen, I'm not going to take anything until you've cultured this, until I know that the antibiotic you're giving me is effective against the strain that I have an overgrowth of. So acne, I had acne, and hey, what's up, Mama? Mama Sousa. I just went up Mama Sousa. Her daughter, London, came to me, and she had terrible cystic acne. They put her on birth control, and she went nuts. She didn't want to be a slave to birth control anymore, but she also didn't want to stop taking birth control because what if her acne came back? So we dealt with her gut, which she had a lot of overgrowth of bacteria, and she had an overgrowth of candida, which can cause these things. It can cause UTIs, it can cause acne. So we got her off birth control, no more acne. And not only is she now clear from all of those things, she now has her insight, her intelligence, and her intuition that guides her, and she's no longer a slave to any kind of medication or any kind of doctor. We can use these things for us instead of against us, you guys. So I digress back to the UTI thing. That is the one thing not to do. If you're going to take an antibiotic, make sure it's been cultured. Lesson number one. Lesson number two is, because someone was asking about the acne and the UTIs, is that it's really important to question why that bacteria is there to begin with. It could be if you're having sex, it could be that your pH is off. It could be that, the vaginal pH is supposed to be acidic. And if we let someone ejaculate inside of us, sperm is very high pH. Low pH. So it's not high pH. It's not acidic. It's alkaline. Our vagina likes to be acidic, which is low pH. And so I know that's kind of hard. Sometimes I even, try to explain that. So if our vagina is alkaline, we can have a urinary tract infection and it could be very painful. So it could help to, and I can't ever recommend this to anybody, but it could help to, insert a probiotic. There's different types of things that you can insert into your vagina that can help with your urinary tract infections as well. Boric acid can help. Doing apple cider vinegar douches or vinegar douches can help. But I don't know these things until I work with a woman, but I look at lab testing first. So those are a couple things there. The third thing is question your diet, because it could be from sex, but it could be from your diet. So the number one things that I see that people are consuming that are causing urinary tract infections are things like soy, packaged foods, dairy, alcohol, coffee, grains, and animal products. Those things can be very, very acidic to the inside of your body. It can cause a lot of inflammation in various parts of our body. So now we're going to add all this stuff up, right? You've got a poor functioning gut, not enough healthy probiotics. Then we're eating crappy foods like this that are very inflammatory. And then you have sex and you're screwed. And you're like, why do I have so many UTIs and acne? This is just how some people's body expresses symptoms, but you could have other symptoms that are caused by this kind of lifestyle. So the Warrior Cleanse cleans up the kind of diet. It doesn't leave you deprived. I like junk food too. So I just have a this, not that approach. And the Warrior Cleanse, I teach all of that. When you start eating this way, your symptoms disappear. They should, but sometimes we have to go deep with functional medicine labs to see what's really going on. What I do find with people who have UTIs and acne, there's a lot of pathogenic overgrowth in the gut and other parts of the body. Your vagina, your bladder, your urogenital tract is right next to your genitals. So these things are like neighbors. So things can spread, especially if you're not wiping properly with the toilet paper that is now a hot commodity, then it could spread and move and cause UTIs because you're not wiping properly. So bidets are going to be the best thing I recommend. I talk about in the Warrior Cleanse exactly what foods to increase to resolve UTIs. I do recommend probiotics. And last thing I'll say here is if you guys go to mydianekaiser.com, you click on the top right menu, click on shop, you'll see my supplement store line. I actually created an entire category for urinary tract infections on how to resolve them and what to have on hand if you have a urinary tract infection pop up. If you're somebody who's susceptible to these things, if you have constant acne, I have a whole section for this and what to get. You can read my full article on this, bit.ly/ what did I write down? UTI remedies. That brings you to an article that I wrote called the top 10 ways to treat UTIs naturally. And this is my last little bit here because I used to suffer from these things. This is actually how I got into health. I had acne, I had UTIs. So you asked the question right here, who's a person? Mary Sosha, you asked the question that got me into holistic health and why I'm so passionate about helping you guys with this. So you're gonna want to keep on hand, sure, people say drink cranberry juice, but there's a ton of sugar in that stuff, and you're gonna need higher concentrations of cranberry and the extract that is in cranberry in order to help that. But what I would prefer is that you guys get something called like Diane, mannose. There's lots of different kinds, lots of different types, lots of different supplement manufacturers. The kind that I recommend, there's like 95% of supplements out there, you guys, are filled with GMOs and junk and preservatives and artificial colors. High fructose corn syrup sometimes, especially those gummies, are filled with high fructose corn syrup that drop your immune system real quickly, like sugar, that cause diabetes, that trigger autoimmune disease, that can also unstabilize your blood sugar, which is the root cause of hormonal chaos. So point being is there's 5% of supplements are actually tested properly. They're clean. They actually are tested properly. What is that they say is in them is actually in them. So you don't want to get the good stuff. You don't want to just go to CVS and go buy, hey, can you guys help me find some D-mannose? I have it in the UTI category. You're going to want to always keep some D-mannose pills in your hand. What are D-mannose? D-mannose is something that's like Pac-Man, and it goes in, and what it does, it starts gobbling up the bacteria that are causing UTIs. And typically that is a strain that you guys have heard as E. coli. Where do I find E. coli? Where do I get exposed to E. coli? Like I said, processed meats are the primary source of where you're getting exposed to E. coli. If you go to my website, dianekaiser.com, you're gonna see her on the top page, it's gonna say menu. So you click on menu, and when you get to the menu, it says more, and you can see it actually says more on the top right. Click on shop, and you'll see all the different things I have organized for you guys. I always reach out to companies and say, help my tribe out, give us a discount. So once you get to that page, top left will say Diane Supplement Store. You just put your email address in there and you have your own account. I have all the categories for all the top 3 things, all the top favorites, all the things that I've been working with the clients for over 8 years now. I have seen the supplements that don't work. I've seen the supplements that do work. I've seen high quality. I've seen low quality. I've seen things that can make people sicker. I've seen things that make people much healthier. These are the things I use myself. I would never recommend anything to you guys that I've never tried myself. We can't keep doing this to our body. We can't trust outside sources to give us artificial immunity. It's not gonna work. It's injuring a lot of people. So I'm talking to you guys about how to build your own immunity. You don't need to listen to me. You could do whatever you want with your body. I just want to empower you with options that are more holistic and that are going to empower and ignite your own intuition and your own innate ability to heal. So D-mannose, probiotics, and you could do different things with probiotics as well. You can insert them in places. I can never say to do it. I can only say that these things have worked for my clients. And then also you can consider other things too, that like heavy metal detoxification, and I have that as well. That's going to be something I have coming up very soon. I'll be talking about that on another episode here, but it's very, very important that all of us need to go on a heavy metal cleanse for 1 to 2 years because we are all so filled with it. That's the reason why we have chronic disease, that we have sickness, symptoms, and suffering, that we have, we are I think it's like the 3rd worst in the medical system, but we spend the most of any other country on medical research and development. This is the reason why. There's profiting in you being sick. I'm trying to unsick you. So that's how you work with UTIs. That is also how you heal acne. D-mannose is not the treatment for acne. I have other things for that. But I do have a whole nother page that I'm going to link below in the comments on, I have a whole video on acne and how people get acne, how I've helped heal very many women with acne by starting in the gut, cleansing the body, regulating the hormones. It is not a straightforward answer. UTIs are a little bit more straightforward. Stop eating the crappy foods that I mentioned, the processed foods. That's all in the Warrior Cleanse. You're gonna learn exactly how to eat for your body, how to reduce symptoms, conditions, diagnoses. You can reverse all of these diseases. I am telling you right now, I have helped clients do it. Let me correct that. I have helped clients to help themselves reverse their own autoimmune disease, never get cancer again. Hormonal issues that they thought were never possible, infertility where they were told they could never get pregnant, depression medication, mood altering medications, sleep medications. I've helped people clean all of this out, all of it. You can do it if you have a curiosity of how do I do it. The answer is inside of you. I'm going to teach you how to ignite and activate these powers inside of you, how to heal all of this naturally. And these are things that used to be food as medicine before the 1930s. And look this up, the Flexner Report, which is where Western medicine started taking over with petroleum-based medications, and they started hijacking nature. They started hijacking plants and taking the DNA sequencing of plants. They put it in a lab. They started adding petroleum and other kinds of preservatives, chemicals, artificial colors, ingredients, and crap, and saying, here's a medication. We're gonna sell you a medication for 1,000% higher than what we could have prescribed you in nature. But because we can't patent nature, we're going to take the structure of cinnamon, the intelligence of Mother Nature, we're going to steal her intelligence. We're gonna splice it in a lab, make it synthetic. We're gonna charge you 1,000% more and call it insulin. Then we're going to tell you that you should eat a high processed food diet. Talk about a prison that we're all in. I don't want to be in it anymore, do you? This is the wisdom of how to get out of the prison by understanding how we got here to begin with. There's a lot of people who don't give a shit about your health. I do, and if you give a shit about your health, let's do this together. It's bit.ly/UTI remedies. And you're going to see all the remedies I talk about today on how to self-heal from UTIs, acne, chronic disease, and more. And I want to help you guys out so that you can too rise up above all of this craziness and madness where we are being disempowered to think that we are not healthy as we are inside. You can find it, and I want to help you find it. I will see you guys in the next video. I'm Diane Kaiser. Bye for now.